Have you ever played Grounded 2 and thought the game was too easy, so you want to make it harder? Well, why not you be using the worst item possible? While meat is usually a food item, there are technically a few items that do have meat in the recipe. The rules for the run are simple. I can only use items that have meat in the crafting recipe. The armor I have is very garbage, and also I can only use my fist as the weapon. So with that, let's begin the meat only challenge. I began to select a new save and chose to be on medium difficulty, as mild is too easy and low would be too hard. I then decided to play as Pete, as he's the best character in my opinion, and then named the world Meat Only. I began my journey like any others. I started to wake up in this strange ominous facility, unaware that I am very tiny. After some exploring, I then come across this weird machine, which takes me to the next level below. There, I find this weird machine thing, and I stick my hand in it, because who wouldn't? After selling my soul, I then realize I can open things now. So I continue exploring, and then I find this weird big dome thing. There, I find a lot of resources and learn to craft. I will never use it. And with those materials, I then crafted a puppet spear. I then immediately trashed it, as I am not allowed to use it, because it is not made of meat. After that, I found these defenseless little creatures that I happily sent to a happy new life. After that little brawl, I then find out my good friend Burgle has been kidnapped. I wonder who did it. After being held captive there forever, I finally managed to escape. Finally, the open outdoors. Now the challenge has actually begun. Unfortunately, I need aphid slippers for the challenge run, so if you love aphids, you should skip forward a bit. After totally not getting in trouble, I then found this weird facility. There, I then find this Omni tool thing. I will never use it. Just kidding, I immediately went to work chopping down the local grass. Because I felt strong, I then knew it was time to brawl. There, I found an ant, and yeah, it's clear who the winner was. After finding some more of those mites, I then come across this weird cave. Inside of that cave, I then find out that's where the lady from earlier was calling me. I will ignore her for the rest of the playthrough. Feeling desperate, I try to upgrade my Omni tool, but apparently I don't have enough raw science because I am broke. Oh well, time for a montage then. After forever, I then finally upgrade my Omni shovel and my Omni hammer. Now that I finally have a shovel, I can finally get grub armor, as I'm defenseless without it. And trust me, I need a lot of grub parts. After filling my entire inventory, I then finally managed to make this totally safe and eco-friendly butchering area. And trust me, this totally passed the health inspections. After enough stalling, I then managed to finally make a Weevil shield. That way I can parry now instead of dodging. I also set my sights on the grub goggles because it is finally some face armor. That way I only need my chestplate left. Also, I decided it's time to get Little Fist because it's a mutation that will make me slightly more effective while killing things. I then brutally tear apart these poor mites, some spiralings, and even a larva, because they had no chance against me because I'm way better than them. I am so close yet so far to Little Fist. Eventually, I find this very big gathering of ants, and so I decide to get their attention and fight them because that's an actual challenge than these individual little monsters. After forever, I finally get Parry Master 1 of 3 and Little Fist 1 of 3. I will not be upgrading them any further because that would take too much time that I do not have. When I eventually got back to base, I then started to cook all the meat I found and actually make a lean-to because it's time to go to bed and wake up on day 2. On the morning of day 2, I finally cook all the meat in my backpack and decide to finally craft the grub vest. That way I finally have a full set of armor and probably can survive more than a few hits. After making more than enough bandages that I will probably ever need, I finally decide that it is time. Time for what, you may ask? No, I'm not going to get the red ant buggy. They take too much time to get, plus they're weak. Correct, it is time for me to go to the statue. Unfortunately, I do not have Mighty Claws, so I'm not able to go through the normal way. However, while experimenting, I then found out a secret way that you can actually go to the statue, and it's actually pretty quick. And guess what? It involves deforestation. So apparently, directly north of the statue, there's a little area that you can build on. So with some building and just simply a staircase, you can actually skip the entire hedge area. This will make my job much easier. And so not long after building, I then finally managed to sneak my way in. Unfortunately, there is one very big obstacle in my way, this mantis. However, because his eyesight is garbage, I can just sneak past it and it will not see me. However, this unavoidable bee did see me, but luckily I can just parry and run away. In a desperate attempt of escaping that bee, I then find this small outpost. There I find granola bars and do something that's going to make a lot of people mad. I do not need granola bars as they are not made of meat. After walking forever and barely escaping that bee alive, I then finally make it up to the network center. Finally, peace and oh wait, no, never mind. The Masked Ranger is not happy about me for some reason. In a fit of rage, the Masked Ranger then sends a raid at me. However, I completely ignore them and head inward to the network center. Finally, home sweet home. Unfortunately, V did some decorations by putting a lot of explosive creatures everywhere that want to eat me. However, they're weak, so I can just ignore them. On floor 2, I found a lot of beds I will never use, and fire bandages. And useless granola bars. After I got everything I needed on the second floor, I then realized it's time for a mini-boss fight. This is not going to go easy. Hopefully my gear will be enough to take it, but hey, at least I got a number of bandages that I will not say. The boss fight is pretty annoying because she keeps trying to vomit all over me. And while I can parry it, unfortunately it makes a sizzle area that I have to avoid. After fighting forever, I eventually won. Wait. Okay, I got it second try. Now she's dead. And unfortunately, I did not get a trinket. However, I did find the best food in the game. After some more exploring, I then found these 3 levers. After activating the 3rd lever, I then realized it is time to go to the 4th floor, my least favorite. But hey, I'm only 1 floor away from finding V herself. It is also on this floor that I see something very traumatizing. What on earth is that abomination? Can I join? Eventually, I jumped down this very convenient placed hole, and then I realized I'm in the air vents. And V's decorating brought in a lot of angry spiders. However, I managed to escape and go to the 5th floor. Now that I am up here, it is time to fight V herself. Well, it has all come down to this. Can it be V using the items I have? The first phase went very smooth as I know all of her attacks and all the attacks that she does do, they're very predictable, so I can either dodge or block, and I'll take 0 damage. Unfortunately though, that's not the same thing for the second phase. Luckily she got stunned a couple times, which is a great chance for me to get some critical hits on her. After some fighting, she then decides to drink a smoothie, but luckily I got some food, so I guess I can join her then. Unfortunately, her smoothie had some sort of power in it which made her do explosions. Luckily I can dodge them, so I take 0 damage from her. Unfortunately though, that is not the same for her jump attack, as even though I did parry that, if you watch the footage, I still took damage, which does not make sense at all. Luckily for me, she eventually starts to give up, but then she calls a spider down to do all of her work. I bet that this fight is going to be so difficult. Never mind, I beat the spider. After I demolished her favorite pet, she then decides to teleport away because she is a whiny little which means that I have won the fight. Luckily though, there is still more content to do as I have 1 found Burgle's head, and 2, there is an entire new boss fight with the new update, which means I can do that if there's a part 2. To celebrate this victory, I then decide to eat the best food in the game. I feel amazing. After talking to Burgle, I then look out the amazing view that I just found. I can't believe I got this far with just beating meat. Wait,